I love printing. I love printing. I love it. I love printing. Hey, everybody. Want to welcome you back to another episode of Printer to Printer on What They Think with me, Warren Werbitt, otherwise known as the Print Whisperer. Today we have with, as usual, a distinguished guest, because on this show you must be distinguished to get on. We have Reza Shafii here from Tiger Press. How you doing, Reza?
Good. This is Reza Shafii, others known as the Tiger, right here.
Yeah, I like the way you're learning.
Yeah,
So
I got the logo too.
just so we're straight with everybody, this is our fourth time doing this. I've had a couple technical issues where it didn't record. So here we are again. We are now professionals. Raz, it could be my co-host going forward because he knows how it all works.
And by the way, it wasn't my fault.
It was never your fault. It's always my fault. My show, my fault. So, Raza, why don't you just give us a little story about Tiger Press and anything you want to tell us?
Yeah, absolutely. I met my wife back in the college at the University of Massachusetts in Amherst. We both graduated. I got my master's degree and she got her bachelor in the same year. In 1985, we got married, and then we didn't want to work for anybody. So we decided to start our own business. So we started the copy center. Since I was doing a thesis for my master's, I had to make a lot of copies for different professors to prove my thesis. So every time I went to this local copy shop at the town, I had to wait 45 minutes and the service wasn't all that great. So I said, well, maybe we can do better. And we were thinking, okay, we're going to do this for a couple of years and then, I don't know, do something else. Well, 40 years later, I'm still doing it. So we started with Copycat. We branched out to the number of locations around Western Massachusetts and Southern Vermont. And eventually the original Copycat became an offset printing facility for other copycats. And the cat grew up, became Tiger. And we called it, renamed it in the mid-90s, Tiger Press. Then in early 2000s, I started selling off the copycats to the managers who were running them at the time. And today I have the pleasure of running Tiger Press. Me and my wife are still running the same company, which is much larger. We do offset printing, digital printing. We do a lot of signage, sign banners, mailing services, fulfillment services. And we are located now in East Longmeadow, Massachusetts, which is about 20 minutes north of Hartford, Connecticut, right on the border of Massachusetts and Connecticut. And we love every minute of it.
Hey, what's not to love about print, right? Do you do the franchises or the other smaller copycats still exist, and do you service them?
I am happy to say that every one of them are still in business. The one that they closed up or the one that I either I kind of moved or brought some of them to Tiger Press. That's how I started the digital division at Tiger Press. And I ended up closing a couple of them because the town was small or whatever. But the one that I sold off, they're all still standing and doing good. None of them have gone out of business. So I'm happy about that.
Good. That's always nice to hear. And it's actually quite a nice story to go from copy shop to king of the den, you know?
Yeah.
Tiger.
Well, the funniest thing, when we came up in the name Copycat, we thought we were so like unique and whatever. Then I started traveling. Every city I went to, they had 5 copycats. So then I learned that, oh, we weren't all that creative. But hey, listen, Tiger Press is nice. I like that.
Oh, no, it's good. Listen, we're all creative on our own minds. Doesn't really matter what's out there. How many employees do you have at Tiger Press?
Right now, we have 75. Pre-COVID, we had about up to 85. The business has actually grown since. We started one of our best years in 2020 before COVID. Our first quarter, we were up like 40% over the previous year. And by the end of the year, we kind of closed a 5% below the year before. But since we have come back and we are going above it, but we have learned how to be more efficient. Our emphases are in automation and productivity, efficiency. We are taking it by heart, especially in the front office, where it comes to billing, order taking, and that type of things. We try to automate. I actually have a full-time programmer on the staff, plus 2 other people who know our MIS system and know about programming enough to give him direction, what we want to do. So every day we're looking for ways to make ourselves more efficient, less people touch the work. Obviously, we haven't got into our production area, but maybe robots would be next. But
it's, you know what, it's everything you say is so bang on. We've been talking about less touch points for a long time in our industry, because the more times you touch a docket, the more people that are involved, the longer it takes, the more costly it is. I think COVID, for a lot of people, I hope for everybody, has taught people how to make things a little more automated, less touch points, because from what I'm hearing, everybody has less employees, not by choice, just there's certain things happening in the world that we can't control. And one of the ways we're going to learn to adapt with it is by going more automation, right? I think every company needs a good MIS system, a good CRM. You need to know what's going on. You need to have everything at your fingertips. You could a good CRM system's great. Don't know that I found a company yet that has wonderful salespeople who are using it and filling everything in the way they should. But that's a conversation of itself over a drink somewhere. In the plant, I think it's automation's great, but it's expensive, and you could only do that as you have to replace something, and you need to do the proper homework to analyze if it warrants it, right? I was in one factory where they had 4 robots at the end of the gluing line. So it comes off the gluer, it's automatically put into the box and then sealed, and then the robots pick them up. And the beautiful thing with that I saw was, and the plant manager said to me, goes, first of all, never have a sick day. And every pallet is laid out exactly the same, nothing hanging off a little, nothing falling, nothing leaning, because the robot follows the program and doesn't make mistakes. So there are some advantages to that.
That's an excellent example. I mean, I'm not against hiring more and more people or employee or taking the jobs away. But who wants to stay at the end of the gluer folder line and just grab things and pack it? That's what the minimum wage people get. And nobody wants to do that. I mean, I would never want to get rid of my press operators. I don't want to put a robot running my presses, but those simple tasks can be done with a robot, and we could be a lot more efficient.
But
so
remember,
we can pay the rest of the people more money.
But people that are worried about robots replacing them, I wouldn't worry so much, because somebody has to program and operate the robot. Like, people are needed, right? So it's not a people thing. It's just we find, excuse me, we'll find different positions for people, but some of the mundane, monotonous, tedious work that nobody wants to do could be done by
those can be by robot. I mean, I don't have a lot to tell you about our CRM system because we don't really use it. We do have it, but we don't use it. As
you should use it.
We should maybe, but we have a great MIS system, which we use it, and we use it to the limits. Like
what company's the IMS?
MIS. Our MIS is ePace. Originally was the Pace company out of Florida.
Right.
When we bought it, it was around 2005. Everybody sold out at one time to EFI, and recently EFI
sold.
I don't know if they sold or they kind of cut off as its own separate entity.
No, they sold to another company.
Okay, so they sold it to yes, they did sell to another company who are actually, I think they pay more attention. So all of their MIS system are sold to another company. So I forgot the name of the company, but we are with ePace. ePace is like a more of a customized. You can customize the program the way you want to do it. So, I mean, what you said, information is the power. I have as much information I want in my fingertip. Right now, I'm in basement of my house with the doors locked.
You're in the jail cell.
I'm in the jail cell because I had COVID. So right now I'm sitting here, but I can have everything information I want about what's going on at work in a matter of seconds. Like I can tell you exactly how many orders were put in to the system yesterday. What was the size of the order? Who put them in? I can tell you how much we invoiced yesterday. I can look at one printing press and not just see what they produce, but I can see how much they produce in a matter of seconds. Like this press, we built, in addition to the materials, income, whatever, we built for the labor or the machine time, $3,000 yesterday. I can see those information in a matter of seconds.
How many hours did it work?
We normally run shifts of 10 or 12-hour days. Say that again. What was your question? Is that?
Well, no, if you ran 10 hours, you got $300 an hour. It's not bad. How old's the machine? I'm just doing the math backwards.
No, yeah. I have two 6-color presses. They're both HUV, all over, and an 8-color press Perfector, which is also HUV.
Okay, so I hope yesterday you didn't do the 3,000 on the 8-color, because that's not enough money for an 8-color for a day.
But this was an example. I'm just telling you that I could find those out. I could find out how much I produce in a particular. Actually, I don't think I break it down by different folders. I do it by the folding department, so I can see how much we built yesterday in labor for folding yesterday. So, I mean, those are the information where it gives you the power how to run the your business and what type of decision you can make to improve your business, especially the bottom line.
Oh, I was going to say, the more information you have at your fingertips, the more knowledgeable you are, but you're also able to react on a dime if something should come up, because you know where you stand. You're not going to make a decision that's going to hurt your business if you shouldn't make the decision. So there's a lot of people I talk to that have that. There's a lot of people that I talk to that have nothing like that. And my message to everyone who doesn't have all of that is, you need to get it, because life today is about knowledge. In our world, it's about data. The more data you have collected from what you do, the better decisions you get to make going forward. Right.
One other thing I want to tell you, Warren, that I'm very proud of, or I love, to me, that's the best thing we ever did. And the best thing we have is we have this feedback system where when we teach people how to punch in their part-time, full-time, the first day at job, we show them how they can put a feedback into the system, and they could put their name, they could report as much as they want. They could put their name on it. They could hide their name, whichever they want. And these feedbacks goes to all the managers. We have 5 managers at the plant, and they get, and every Tuesday morning, we have a managers meeting, and we look at all the feedbacks that were put into the system. So they can report something wrong with the job. They could report that how we could improve on a job. They could report, like, for example, one of the things lately they've been putting, sometimes we order a paper and the coded side is down and instead of being up. So they have to flip the whole thing. And they've been asking for a load flipper for a long time. We've been looking at it. It hasn't been feasible for us to buy one yet because we don't really flip the loads as much. But every time they have to do it, they put the comments right to the system. I just wasted an hour and 45 minutes turning the paper over or whatever. And we listen to their feedback, and that feedback has led us change our business for better, improve our business, and become more efficient. So I'm very proud of our feedback.
How about what you didn't say there was forget the efficiency and the feedback, but how good does your team feel that you're listening to them and you're reacting to the feedback? Because so many companies that say they talk to the people, they do, but then they don't listen or do anything that the people say. So kudos to you.
Well, that's a good question you brought up. About 10 years ago, when we started the feedback, people were asking, oh, what do you do? We put it in. We don't never know what happened to it. So we started printing these large format, big, like 4x8 signs and posted into the break room that showed the feedback, but you had to get close to it, put your glasses on, whatever, read that, what's your feedback you put in, what we did with it. Now, starting a couple of years ago, we put this large TV monitor on the area where the cafeteria is, and it rotates between the different feedbacks and what the management has done with it. Furthermore, each employee can walk into it and look for any feedback, whether they put it in, somebody else put it in, whatever, and see the result of what we may have done or have not done with it, and they can see all that. So I think that now I get a lot more feedback since we started that, because they know that their feedback is being used and being worked on.
Listen, they feel good. People come to the shop that maybe want to work there. They talk to the other people. The people tell them that, you know, management listens, they're involved, they do what we ask. It only makes for better, everything only makes for a better company and better people and accommodations. One other thing I wanted to ask about was, I'm aware that you are a member of the Graphic Arts Alliance, which is a buying group. When I had my company for 18 years, I was part of a buying group, and I found that the advantages to being part of it were over the top. Aside from the rebates that we would get, because it would be looked at as an overall buy. And in our group, I think there was 150 to 250 members. But just being part of the group and the rebates, my relations with some of the suppliers were better. The meeting some of the members and expanding my network in that way was great. How does it work, or how's GAA for you?
Oh, GAA is great. I joined over 5 years ago with GAA. And one of the best thing about GAA is that you don't need to change vendors. Your existing vendors, once you join GAA, you would get a quarterly check for rebates on the paper you buy, on the ink you buy, chemicals, everything. And if you're looking for a new service where you're looking for new vendors, you can check the vendors they have on the list. But normally, I bet you most of the printers my size or larger, they would have a number of their vendors already part of GAA network, and automatically once they join GAA, they would get a rebate, which is to join GAA is very simple, really almost costs nothing. And then you're part of a much larger group. So now when you call your ink guy or your paper guy, they don't just look at you as just Tiger Press. Now you're a part of an organization that gives them multi-billion-dollar worth of business. I mean, GAA is a large group of people. Originally, they would only take printers that were $7 million and higher. Up recently, about, I believe, a year ago, they added a new category of printers that are $3 to $7 million
A smaller printer.
volume. So you can see it's a very powerful organization. It doesn't cost much to join, and then you just get a rebate off of what you're already buying. And if you're getting a better price than they offer or whatever, they just honor you the price that you're already getting. It doesn't affect anything, and it doesn't have any negative effect. All it has are positives.
Yeah, when I was a member of another group, I felt the same way. I never changed. If I was dealing with vendors that weren't part of the group and my relationship was good and I liked it, I never left the like I dealt with Fuji for 27 years for plates and all my consumables. They weren't part of the group, but I never left Fuji for $1 because everything was so great. Don't, you know, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But a lot of the other suppliers, you know, it was Sappy Paper and all the good papers and even the FedEx and the ink. At first, I didn't really understand how it worked, but then I did understand, in that every deal that I made locally was done at a local level and didn't have any impact on anybody anywhere. And then when I joined the group, everything with the group was done at a higher level override, as if you were part of, I don't know, just think of any big print company that has plants in every state. Right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Everybody does their own thing. And then the group, basically, that little extra money that I got back, in some cases, allowed me to compete better with some of the people I was going up against. And some years where we didn't get big rebates for whatever the reason, whatever we got went into the social club. So there was always a benefit for free money, right?
Yeah, that's for sure. Yeah, I mean, you see when you deal with a large customer, they come and negotiate pricing, and at the end of the day, they ask you, how much rebate would you give us at the end of the year? Well, in my business, I wasn't used to getting rebates. I would negotiate pricing. Now I get a rebate on the top of it, which is great. I mean,
right. And from what I understand, because I asked some questions, the rebates that you got, that I got, they don't come from the suppliers at a local level. So the suppliers really don't even need to know you're part of a group if you don't want. Right?
Yeah, I'm not sure if they do or they don't. Yeah.
I know they don't. It doesn't affect them because it's done from head office.
I don't feel any difference, or they don't treat me any difference, as you put it. It's just that you're right. The head office, they look at the entire volume, and we're talking about not millions, sometimes in billions. So they are willing to invest from their co-op or whatever accounts they have, which is above and beyond my capabilities to negotiate on those levels with those VP of marketing or the president of the company. So because I'm part of the group, not just that I get a rebate, I also am treated like I'm a much larger than I am.
It's almost like the Better Business Bureau, but it's the Better Printing Bureau.
It is right. It is better. Yeah, maybe we should change the name.
Right? Because I mean, the Better Business Bureau operates the same way. You join the group, and then there's benefits from suppliers and stuff like that.
Yeah. So, and I've looked at other ones. There's a lot of different organizations I am a member of, but I really enjoy being a member of GAA. I'm also one of their managers. I've been a manager for a couple of years. So I sit in the meetings, I do help negotiate and that type of things. And I think they're on the right track.
Yeah, by the way, I'm gonna
recommend them.
I'm gonna give a shout out to Wendy, because I mean, I've spoken with Wendy a couple of times, but then Wendy's taken over for her father, John, and managing it. And I think she's just so awesome. And I think she's going to be great as she continues to go, because her idea, she's fresh. John was great, but John was getting a little tired, I think, at the end, as we all do after so many years in the business.
Yeah, John was great. He worked very hard.
Well, he created it.
I'm an older type of guy. I've been 40 years in business, and when the young guys I hire, I like to tell them about the experience, this or that. And I felt that John was much higher than I was. He knew everybody and all the history of this printing company who merged with that printing company. I mean, he was a wealth of knowledge. And now Wendy is doing a great job bringing a new perspective into things.
Well, and also a bit of a younger perspective, which we need because the industry is changing. And you know what? The elders are good. And if it wasn't for the elders, we wouldn't be here. But I'll just say this. We've got a few elders that if you're looking, look at me. We have a few elders who should get out of the business, make some room for the young people. I don't want to harp on it, but I keep thinking we got to support the young people.
You know, if people ask me, Reza, what's your exodus strategy? I really hate to sell the business. I started it. We love it. And I feel I have many more years. But I tell you what, if I ever find a younger replacement with a fresher ideas, I will be willing to step aside and give him a chance to use his ideas in my business.
How much you want for the business? I'm going to take you up on the offer.
Oh, I don't think you want to get in printing business. As I said, I'm not open to selling it. I'd rather retire and have a young mind.
Absolutely.
Working in the business. Honestly, if I ever find somebody who has good ideas, I'd be willing to step aside. I mean, right now I'm sitting in my basement. I do very little with the business, but
Hopefully,
I like use
hopefully,
new ideas all the time.
hopefully your wife will let you out of the basement soon.
Yeah, she locked the door. So
They all lock the door.
yeah.
So before we wrap up, is there anything you'd like to, any final words to our listeners, just about anything?
I don't know. It's I feel like this is right now. It's the our time to make some money. I think printing. There are not as many printers as they used to be, and now customers value our services more than they ever did before. It looked like it's the seller's market than it is buyer's market in almost anything, and we are taking some advantage of that part of the situation this year.
So I want to just correct you. You said taking advantage. We're not taking advantage of anything. It's now our time because of where the world is at, the paper shortage. We no longer have to race to the bottom line.
Exactly.
If and I dealt with a lot of people buying stuff, and I always felt that every other industry but ours, nobody negotiates much. In ours, everybody wanted to negotiate. Now, I see it now. Customer, if you're not happy with the price, I understand. You're free to shop. I've got 4 other people lined up for the paper because I can't get paper for another 2 weeks. So
exactly.
Now they're paying the right fair price where we are allowed to make the right margin so that we could reinvest in a very capital, extensive business.
Yeah, my word would be, my recommendation to all printers are, we only getting a limited supply of paper and inks and whatever right now. So if you're not making money, don't give away the job. Wait for the next guy.
That's
you
right.
can sell it. And if you cannot sell it, call me. I buy it from you. I mean, don't give it away. That's one of the things. One printer cuts the price, the other one cuts it. We don't need to do that anymore.
Now is not the time for printers to ever cut their price.
Exactly. A fair price. We are not taking advantage of anybody, but we could get a fair price. If I'm paying my press operator $35 an hour, his helper $22 an hour, and the press costs me $150, I have to charge $300 an hour. Well, 10 years ago, I would be willing sometimes to take a job for loss at $200 an hour. There's no need to do that anymore.
Hey, your lawyer sits in the same chair charging $700 an hour, and he incurs no extra cost every year. So, okay, we're gonna leave it with that one. So, Reza, always great to chat with you. Your level of energy is off the charts, and keep doing what you're doing. To everybody else who's dialed in and listening, I always thank you for listening. If you made it to the end, I'm really grateful. Never really know who makes it till the end. Maybe leave me a comment that you made it till the end. Other than that, all is great. And I'm going to sign off again. Warren Werbitt, for What They Think. I love print. We'll see you on the next episode.
Thanks,
you, Warren.
Thank you.